Hello, Helene Shepherd. Welcome to First National Podcast. Today we are bringing you live to the Ipswich Little Theatre, also known as our Incinerator Theatre. It is with great pleasure we introduce you to a snapshot of our past, her present and her very successful future. Enjoy.
My name's Ian Puller. I've been a member of the Ipswich Little Theatre Society since 1967 and I've been an active member during that entire period of time. The important thing about this, of course, this building is that it is an incinerator designed by Walter Burley Griffin, the architect of Canberra, and it's the only Burley Griffin building in Queensland, which means it's historically extremely significant. It was built by the Reverberatory Incinerator Company, of which Walter Burley Griffin was a partner. It was one of the 13 reverberatory incinerators designed by that company, but only 7 of them are still standing, and none of them is operating as an incinerator. The one in Ipswich was built in 1936, opened in 1936, and it proceeded to consume the municipal garbage up until 1962, when it was decommissioned for a number of reasons, which included the fact that the quantity of garbage had doubled by that time, as had the population. And the incinerator had fallen into a state of disrepair. So it was closed, and because it was of no use to the council and could have become a burden in terms of maintenance, the council of the day decided that it needed to be demolished. Well, this of course created something of an uproar amongst the architects and cultural groups of the city, and they sort of protested about it and eventually prevailed upon the council to relent on the proviso that a use could be found for the incinerator, because obviously they weren't going to maintain it any longer. So the citizens thought quite long and hard about what might be done about it. Somebody eventually suggested that perhaps it could be turned into a theatre, although that looked to be extremely difficult. But the organising secretary of Arts Council got herself elected as president of Ipswich Little Theatre with the sole purpose of trying to persuade Little Theatre, which company had been in existence since 1946, to see if they would be interested in getting involved in the possible conversion. Well, Ipswich Little Theatre was, particularly as the council also decided that they would close the town hall, which was our performance venue at that time. They were going to close it and build a new purpose-built cultural centre after that, but there was going to be a gap of 4 years, so Ipswich Little Theatre was very keen to find an alternative place for performance. So we turned our attention very much to the possibility of doing two things. One is saving an historic building, and secondly of providing a theatre in which we could perform and provide culture for the citizens of Ipswich. As it turned out, by a stroke of fortune and the fact that I was an engineer, I was able to come up with a viable solution to the problem, and we in fact converted it to a theatre in 1969, and in a very primitive sort of way. So over the next 53 years we have continued to develop the site. We've improved the operation of the incinerator itself, but we've also built a number of additional buildings in the grounds, which has allowed us to expand and do all sorts of things, because we have a number of groups. We have a junior theatre group, we have a group for teenagers, we have a group who provide pantomime for early childhood people in particular. We have had for many years a group that provided provided actual activities for people with disabilities, and because we operate out of an historic building, we have also hosted numerous tours of the building with entertainment thrown in. And in addition to that, of course, our core business is performing 4 or 5 major productions in this building every year. In 2016, which is getting to be a little while ago, we decided to build a roof over our courtyard, which is important to our business because it's where we do a lot of entertaining, a lot of provisioning. It's our ticket office, it's all sorts of things. But it was open to the elements largely, and we decided to build a covered roof over it. Little realising that that was going to run out eventually to an expenditure of $400,000, which we achieved with no subsidy from government at all. In fact, over the years we've had remarkably little subsidy from anybody. All the things that we've done, which now amount to probably about $4 million in current day terms, all that money has been raised from our own, nearly all that money has been raised from our own box office. So we consider ourselves a highly successful group that's been operating in a way since 1946 and from here since 1969.